Hey battlers, welcome back to the channel. This is Zerf Belrose here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go Battle League content. This week's video is again done in the Holiday Cup, and it features my favorite Great League Mon, Sableye, the XL Sableye that I recently finished building. Purified, rockin' Shadow Claw, Foul Play, Return, that's a standard moveset. And then we've got one of my favorite mons for the whole Holiday Cup, Dewgong, is the safe swap. We've got a double legacy Dewgong, Ice Shard, Icy Wind, and Water Pulse. And our spice of today is Piloswine with Stone Edge. This thing has boomed so many things in this Holiday Cup, and you're going to see some of that today. Now, huge shout out before we begin to the Patreon supporters and all of you subscribers and everyone who's watching my videos. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I couldn't be doing this without you guys, and it means so much to me that you show your support. So, without further ado, let's get right into these battles. It's going to be exciting. So, first battle we've got here today. Sableye against a Frostlass, super positive lead. Sableye is going to be able to chunk this thing with Shadow Claws. My opponent's swapping right out into a Vigoroth. This has been a very popular, constant thing that happened to me while running this team. I have to stay in with the Sableye because that's really the only thing on this team that can handle a Vigoroth. So we find out that Sableye will actually win in the two-shield scenario. It's able to get to the that Foul Play to take out the Vigoroth before they can get to a third Bulldoze, because a Body Slam, if I call all the baits and they don't land a Bulldoze, Vigoroth loses the matchup. So this is going to be a very common scenario in Holiday Cup because a lot of Vigoroths are going to swap in. Even lately I've seen a lot of, Obstagoon Vigoroth on the same team, so just going to continue playing out this lead matchup because I do not want my Dewgong or my Piloswine to see this thing, and I know that my Piloswine, if I get their shields down, can land Stone Edge. It's going to hurt. So we're just going to continue on with this matchup. We take out the Vigoroth, and we're able to maintain switch advantage here, even though I never really swapped in the first place. But that being said, they're going to bring in a Alolan Graveler here, and I'm going to opt to do some damage and dunk out to my Piloswine, knowing that Piloswine's going to be able to whoop their entire backline because of that ground typing. It's not taking any damage from these Volt switches, and they're going to be able to land this Stone Edge on me, which is going to hurt, but it only does neutral damage, so I'm able to handle it here. And in comes the Frostlass. Ladies and gentlemen, they don't know Piloswine has Stone Edge. They swapped in the Frostlass unsuspectingly. This is going to hurt. Stone Edge coming in. Bam! It almost takes it out. Now, if it was a Shadow Piloswine, it would have done the job. But Ice damage doing neutral to Rock, and an Avalanche is going to hurt this Graveler. And we're going to hit it again for some big damage. Big enough for me to hit the kaboom button. We're going to go down to Volt Switch damage. That's fine. I'm going to bring in the Dewgong because it can handle anything that the Graveler throws at me, and we'll be able to take that one right there. Moving into the next battle here. Sableye versus Lapras. Now, Lapras, kind of tough for this whole team. Typically, they'll have anti-fighters in the back, which may or may not be good for Sableye, but I will go with safe swap into my Dewgong here just to catch the energy. Try and render some of that useless. I cannot let this Lapras get against my Piloswine, so my opponent swaps out into Venusaur, and Dewgong, being the MVP safe swap of this Holiday Cup, can actually flip this matchup if my opponent lets me. Actually, they might not even have to let me. All I have to do is Ice Shard down while hitting these Icy Winds and getting the shields, and what happens is Dewgong can come out of this matchup with Switch and both shields down. But it's a scenario where both shields on both of our sides are going to be down. So in this particular situation, I opt to go for Switch, knowing that I can, and because I don't want that Lapras anywhere near my Piloswine. So I do get stuck in here to go and fire off this Icy Wind, which I will. The opponent lets it go without putting up a shield because they know that there's no way. So they bring in the Lapras, and unfortunately this is a situation where my team can't do a whole ton against the Lapras. That Shadow Surf damage is going to hurt my Sableye, even though it is an XL, quite a bit. And Dewgong can't really do anything to this Lapras except for just try and lower its attack or maybe hit it with a resisted Water Pulse. So unless they've got something seriously weak to Piloswine in the back or seriously weak to Sableye in the back, I'm not looking too great here. So especially my opponent with a shield. Now I'm going to look to, they're farming up energy, but I'm going to look to try and debuff this thing as much as I can, so at least I force them to swap out with whatever comes back in. It's just, they're at 100 energy by now, I swear to God. So I come in with the Sableye, looking to hopefully just soak up the energy, and even look, it's a double resisted, or a double debuffed Surf, and that still does a lot of damage. They bring in an Altaria, which is normally ideal if I have a shield, but since they don't have a shield, I have to fire off the Avalanche, maybe get their shield. But my only win condition here is if I can somehow land a Stone Edge against their Lapras, but it looks like they're not going to let me. They're going to get off a Sky Attack here, and that's going to do enough damage for them to be able to Dragon Breath me down. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get to the Avalanche in time because it's just one Dragon Breath short. So all I can do here is just fire off foul plays, and unfortunately that Lapras has enough energy for another Surf. They're going to be able to take me out, and this is going to be a good game to my opponent. They've played this very well with the Lapras that was able to hard wall my team for the most part here. So very good, very well played to my opponent there. Takes out the Sableye. There he goes. Unfortunately, the little ghosted could. It's alright. Can't win them all, right? So, next battle here, we've got Sableye on the lead versus a Unovan Stunfisk. Now, this is a great matchup for Piloswine, not so great for Dugong. So I do just safe swap straight into the Dugong, even though it's not great because of Discharge. Dugong shields once, and typically they bail out because they have a better answer in the back or whatever. But I can actually win this, and you're going to see here Skarmory comes in. This is not a good matchup for Skarmory to come into. Dugong is super tanky, and these Icy Winds are going to come off before that Skarmory can even land a charge attack, so I don't even need to invest another shield here. Second Icy Wind coming on hot. Coming in cold, I guess, right? Going to be able to hit it with an Icy Wind. My opponent either needs to start shielding, or I'm able to farm them all the way down here. So my opponent's going to build up a ton of energy, probably going to go for the Brave Bird at this point, realizing the error of their ways. Not me. Skarmory's still a pretty good swap in for this. It's just I had so much energy that my opponent, unfortunately, they weren't going to be able to do anything here. So a double debuffed charged attack comes through. Is it the Brave Bird? It's the Brave Bird. Still not strong enough to take it out. And Dugong wins switch and has an Icy Wind loaded for the Talonflame that comes in. And ladies and gentlemen, they've got a Unovan Stunfisk and a Talonflame. I don't think they're ready for what's about to happen. So I'm able to get the Icy Wind in. And I come in with the Piloswine. They're going to come back in with the Stunfisk, and my opponent can't really hit me for much damage. They get Mud Bombs. That's all they're going to get. So I'm looking to load up on a bunch of energy so that I can go off, get the shield off of my opponent, and also be able to hit him with some big damage. So I'm just loading up because I know this is a safe matchup for Piloswine to do so. As long as I can maintain the shield for Sableye in the end, he should be able to easily take care of this, or she. Actually, I don't know what gender my Sableye is. I should look that up. So I'm going to no-charge this so I can either get the shield or get some energy in, but looks like my opponent was able to go down without letting me farm. So now we're going to find out if they know I have Stone Edge. They figured it out. They figured it was probably an Avalanche. They're going to let it go. Or I'm going to go down to Incinerates, and they're going to put up a shield. So now Sableye just has to be able to beat this thing, and all I have to do here is call the bait and make sure that I don't get hit by a Brave Bird. And we call the bait correctly, so the Flame Charge is going to go unshielded, but I'm going to be able to get this thing down low enough to the point where a foul play will nearly KO. And Sableye, with 2 more Shadow Claws and a shield, is going to take this match for us. Again, my opponent, I was kind of hoping that Stone Edge was going to land, but I guess in the situation my opponent was in, there was no way they weren't shielding that anyway, so either way, good games. Hopping into a next battle here. We've got another Unovan Stunfisk lead. So in this particular situation, once again, I'm just going to bail right away. They typically either bail right away or they stay in to try and land a discharge, which I'm not going to let through. They're going to get a shield for me, and that's fine. Because if they bail, then my Dugong is way ahead on energy, and an Icy Wind is going to come in real quick. But they come in with a Alolan Marowak. Now, normally, this particular matchup could go either way. It depends on if we can land the Water Pulse. So I go immediately for the Water Pulse, and we get him for about half their HP. Now, the Alolan Marowak is running, it looks like Fire Spin. So there you got typically Bone Club and Shadow Bone for this particular setup. And they're going to go for the Shadow Bone. Now, the interesting thing about Dugong is that it can actually win switch here if my opponent decides to no-shield this Icy Wind. And if they do shield, then that's fine. They go for the Bone Club, however. And I am going to go for the Water Pulse just to see if I can flip switch. I want the guaranteed damage or I want to get a shield off my opponent. And they do sack the shield for this, so I'm going to be able to get a little bit more damage off. They're going to have some more energy, but I'm going to come straight in with Sableye and start getting some Shadow Claw damage in, and I will no shield because it's just a Shadow Bone. I'm not worried about it. It's just going to do neutral damage. It does do a bit, but it's not going to be to the point where I can't. They hard swap in the Stunfisk. I come in with the Piloswine in a dominating matchup, and this thing is going to eat snow. It's going to eat so much snow that it's gonna faint. It can't handle the amount of snow that I'm about to drop on this pancake. So, gonna go in for the Icy Wind. Will we land the move? Let's find out, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, takes him out for half HP. Here comes, what are they gonna bring in next? Let's see what they got. Opponent comes in with a Talonflame. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think they know we have Stone Edge. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for the Stone Edge. Suspense. Boom! We take them out with a Stone Edge, and all they've got left is a Marowak with no HP, and my opponent concedes the match because they weren't expecting the Stone Edge. Fantastic! So the trick, that we get a Sableye here on Libra's Talonflame, so we'll play this matchup out because I don't really want them to stay in. I don't want them to stay in on any of my other mons because that could be dangerous. But let's go back and talk about that Talonflame. So the trick with running something like Piloswine with Stone Edge, you can't hard swap in to whatever they bring in. Like if they bring in the Talonflame, you don't hard swap into it with the Piloswine because your opponent's going to know. It looks like my opponent gets some lag there. That's unfortunate. I was wondering maybe if they were waiting for me to throw so that they could throw an Unboost or a Brave Bird and dip without getting CMP tied, but I'm not really sure if that was lag or not. But up 2 shields to no shields at this point because I don't want my opponent to see my backline with that Talonflame. I will opt to double shield because they are at max energy. But yeah, you don't want to bring in the Piloswine hard into something like a Talonflame because your opponent's going to expect you to have something that's going to one-shot it. So you just kind of have to let the game play out as it goes. Now Vigoroth comes in, and this is actually really dicey because my Sableye having such little HP and no shields is a little bit worried about this. My opponent has to get to the Bulldoze to take out Sableye here. So they're going to throw early. That's a Body Slam, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's a Body Slam. So we survive. We're going to get to another foul play that's going to get very close to taking out this Vigoroth. And what I'm going to end up doing here is instead of letting them farm me down, I'm going to swap straight to Dugong. They're going to throw their energy, which is fine with me. Dugong can more than handle a Body Slam. And I'm going to be able to farm him down after that. I will take some damage, unfortunate, but has to happen. They're going to come in with the Talonflame. They have no energy, so I'm able to safely go for this Water Pulse to take them out. And we'll get to see what they've got in the back. Talonflame, Vigoroth, and what was in the back here. It's a tree! Oh, we're going to get the Icy Wind off on this tree if they don't get to they get to the Seed Bomb first. So unfortunately, we do have to let them have it. Now, we're going to have to come in with Piloswine and hope that we can outpace them to that Avalanche before they can take us out with Seed Bombs and some Shadow Claw damage. So let's see how far we can get. Let's see how much HP this is going to do. Seed Bomb is super effective with Piloswine. This is not... They're going for the Shadow Ball. They almost take him out. And a Shadow Ball will do more damage than a super effective Seed Bomb, so that was the correct play by my opponent. But they were not able to take out Piloswine, and they go down to an Avalanche. Good game. Next game. This team is so fun. I love booming things. The Piloswine is just so fun when you bring it into your opponent and they don't have a hard answer for it. So Charm Lead, I'm getting the hell out of there. Dugong comes in, and my opponents, when they run Charm, they almost always wait for me to throw the Icy Wind before they bail, so I'll throw it because at that point I know they're going to bail anyway, and I mean, I will actually lose the matchup unless they bail. They have to swap in on their Charmer and debuff them with Icy Wind to win that matchup. So they come in with Unova and Stunfisk. I'll start shielding until I can debuff the discharge damage that's going to be coming in. So I will shield and I will throw the Icy Wind here. They're going to either take a super effective Icy Wind or they're going to shield, which smartly they shield. But now I actually am able to survive a discharge from this range and get off another Icy Wind, which is just more proof in the pudding about how good Dugong really is. Look at that. Soaks a discharge like a champ. And I'm going to hard swap into my Sableye here just to save that Icy Wind for later. And I don't have to shield this. It's a debuffed move. So we're just going to let them throw their Mud Bomb. I'm no shielding that. I'm going to start building up energy, expecting my opponent to swap back in their Charmer. I want to hit them with a lot of damage, or I'm going to get that shield. So we're going to see what my opponent opts to do here. They shield the move, which is fine. They're going to get some charm damage through, also fine. They've got no shields. I've got an icy one, so I'm going to use that icy one that I stored for later. I'm going to debuff the Wigglytuff, and I'm going to be able to get off a little bit of damage. They are going to take me out, but Piloswine just comes in, does one fast move, and takes out the Wigglytuff. And he's primed and ready to take out this Talonflame that just came in. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got another Kaboom coming. We're loading up on that Stone Edge. We're going to hit that Talonflame. They have no idea what's coming, do they? Boom! Takes out the Talonflame, and it's just a matter of some damage, some fast move damage, or an avalanche to take out this Stunfisk. I'm not even worried about it. Ah, that's the key to victory. Stone Edge is the key to victory. The thing with this Holiday Cup meta is anything that does rock damage is widely unresisted in this meta. So if you can do it, it's powerful. It's just a matter of finding things that can do the rock damage. So Piloswine being able to come in and throw Stone Edges is huge, because it can just end so many things so quickly. So taking another victory there, we're going to move into the next match. We're starting to get up into veteran territory here. We've got Altaria on the lead. It's a very not so super awesome matchup. It's neutral. I'm going to swap straight to the Dugong to start getting ahead on energy, because my opponent will swap, and they come in with Graveler. It's a Rock Throw Graveler, which is definitely interesting to me. I'm going to go straight for the Water Pulse here, because I either want the damage or I want shields, because the Rock Throw damage is not ideal, but my opponent lets it through, and I'm going to be able to win switch here by shielding, which is huge, because now I can keep that Altaria away from my Sableye, and I'm going to be able to figure out, based on what they have in the back, because they're not going to bring their Altaria into this. They're not going to want to eat Icy Winds and spend shields, so I'm going to get to see what my opponent brings in here, and they're going to bring in a Magnezone. This is a spicy pick, Magnezone being one of the best core breakers in the Holiday Cup. But it's very frail, and it has to shield these moves, and you can just see how much damage those not very effective Ice Shards are doing just in that short span of time. So we're going to come in with Piloswine being able to resist all of the damage from their electric moves, and only taking damage from the Mirror Shot, despite it being super effective. Now I'm going to come in with Sableye, soak the move on Sableye, who's going to be able to more than happily tank this for me. And now I'm going to force them to either bring in their Altaria with one shield, which is going to give my Piloswine an opportunity to farm down here. Let's see if they shield it. Oh, they do shield it. So they look like they're going to be saving the shield for their Magnezone, which is smart. It's a Shadow Magnezone. It's pretty squishy. But let's see what my opponent wants to do here. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any ground-type damage to one-shot that Magnezone. So what I'm looking to do here, strictly farm it all the way down, and I'm really hoping to just get to 2 Avalanches here. I know that even though it's resisted damage, an Avalanche is going to hurt like a truck. But I do go for the Stone Edge here. I don't know if maybe I did that just to show him I had it, or if I did it just to do the damage. But I think that a Stone Edge actually does more damage in that scenario. I'm not actually sure. I might be wrong on that. But either way, I'm going to be able to one shield, and we're just going to be able to fast move down and take that out. I think the Avalanche would have been fine as well. They let it go either way, and I think that was their mistake, but that's all right. Next battle coming up, we've got our wonderful Sableye on the lead against the Lantern. Now, here's the thing with Lantern is depending on the fast move, and it's rocking Water Gun, so Dugong walls it, Wigglytuff comes in, and we send the Dugong out. Now, the thing with the Lantern is that Dugong walls it, but it also enables it to get a ton of energy, because what will happen here, this is actually a very well-known and degenerate Lantern double charm team. So basically what happens here is, yes, I'm going to be able to gain switch advantage by shielding here once. However, my opponent's Lantern is going to be able to come in and get so much energy off of me that I won't be able to come back from that. But we're going to do our best. We're going to see how close we can make this battle come, because we've got Piloswine, and you know what Piloswine does is it can take things by surprise. And unfortunately, because of the water gun damage, though, it doesn't stand much a chance against the Lantern. So I'm trying to keep Sableye alive enough to deal with the Lantern. Now, I have only a little bit of HP left, but I'm going to be able to get off like 2 Icy Winds in the time that it's going to take for this Lantern to take me out with Water Gun, just because of how much damage is being resisted here. As we can see, I'm going to be able to get to this Icy Wind here, and I almost wonder if maybe it would have been better if I'd swapped out just to save those Icy Winds for later. because really they're not going to do me a whole lot of good against this Lantern. And they still have 2 shields, and I know they've got double charm. They've got a Charmer in the back. Here comes the little Ninetales. Now, the only hope and a prayer that I've got here is to be able to get to 3 Stone Edges in the time it takes to get them to take me out, but I'm not going to be able to do it. And they're going to throw energy. I have to expend my last shield here. My opponent's Lantern has so much energy on them. There is not much that I can do here, so unfortunately, this is already looking to be a GG's. All I can do is just fire off avalanches and see how much damage I can do. Maybe get the shields off it. Now, they are going to shield just to guarantee their victory here. But I'm going to go for the Hail Mary Stone Edge just to see if there's a chance in hell that my opponent lets it through. And maybe they let it through and they get almost one shot, but the Lantern comes in with a ton of energy and a shield. And I know that the only way that I win this is if I'm able to get to at least 2 more foul plays. But my opponent has so much energy that they're actually going to be able to beat me to the move, and unfortunately I will lose this one by 2 Shadow Claws. Good game to my opponent though. As much as I hate the team that they're running, they played it well. So, it's alright. Next game coming up in the Holiday Cup, we've got Sableye versus Frostlass. Once again, like we saw before, very positive matchup. They're going to swap out and come right in with the Vigoroth. And this could be a very familiar team that we've already seen before. So as we've seen in the previous battle with this team, we are going to play out this Sableye versus Vigoroth matchup because I, once again, am very familiar with if I can block those bulldozers correctly, then I'm able to take this out. And the thing with the Vigoroth swapping in, ladies and gentlemen, is they typically want to go for the bulldozer right away because they're hoping that maybe they can catch you off guard because they know that Sableye is a very hard wall to Frostlass with shields. They outpace to foul plays. Not plays. Actually, it's about the same. They're about the same energy to the foul play, but the thing is, you're doing super effective damage to them, and they're doing neutral back to you. So it's in their interest to keep the Frostlass away from the Sableye. Now, in this situation, it's always a game of chicken. You don't know if they're going to go for the Body Slam or they're going to go for the Bulldoze. But the thing is, now my opponent has to get to the Bulldoze in order to take me out, and they're out of shields. So I'm going to be able to safely get to this Body Slam, or this foul play here, and I'll actually be able to get to another foul play before my opponent can get to an Avalanche with the Frostlass. But they bring in the Lone Graveler. They're coming in with the Psionic Special here. Now, from previous knowledge, I know that we live a Stone Edge, so I'm not worried about having no shields in this scenario. So I live this. And my opponent comes in with the Frostlass. I don't think they're expecting what's about to happen, so I'm going to go for this Stone Edge here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to blast them with no shields. There it is, almost takes out the Frostlass, and I do go for the Avalanche here to just guarantee that this Frostlass can't farm me down. It's a very close one. Again, Shadow Piloswine can one-shot, but unfortunately Piloswine just barely lacks the oomph to do it. And we're going to find out here if I can get to an Avalanche. No, he just missed the Avalanche to take out the Graveler. So coming in with the Sableye, going to look to soak the energy that the Graveler has accumulated here and hope to just get to an Icy Wind. And I know that my Dugong can soak one Stone Edge if it needs to secure this match here. So going to just continue going. My opponent's going to throw the move here. We're going to find out what they've got and how much damage it's going to do. Stone Edge almost takes out the Dugong, but we're going to be able to get there just in time to throw that Icy Wind. That's a close one. 1 HP, maybe 3 HP in a dream there on Dugong, but able to handle it like a champion. Just Dugong is so excellent. Holiday Cup MVP, if I'm being honest. We've got another Frostlass lead here. One of the most popular teams I saw was a Frostlass lead. They would safe swap into Vigoroth. Now this one's staying in for some strange reason, and I'm not really sure, but they get to a move awfully quick. Now, because it's Frostlass and they have a lot of attack, I will shield, and they're running Avalanche. So they're looking to get rid of this thing. Now they're going to come in with a cast form. This is a very interesting play by my opponent. They're usually rocking some form of either normal or rock-type Weather Ball and an Energy Ball. So I'm going to just play this out just a little bit. Try and get their shields. I've got a couple foul plays. I was able to get a shield off my opponent there. Definitely not super worried about the Frostlass, knowing that both of my Backmons can handle it pretty well. Dugong being tanky, able to spam Icy Winds and throw a Water Pulse, with the Frostlass being where it is on HP. So I come in now with my Piloswine, and I'm going to eat this energy, just because my opponent gains it so quickly with Hex and Weather Ball. They can fire them off so quick. So my opponent is going to be able to get some moves here. and I will throw back the Avalanche to see if I can either get that last shield or if I can knock my opponent's cast form out of the game, which would be huge for my Dugong to be able to come in and possibly sweep the rest of this team here. My opponent does get to another Weather Ball, and I do shield it, not remembering how much energy they had. And my opponent and I are going to race to the next charge move, and who's going to get there? My opponent gets to the move first, unfortunately, but they're in a health range now where Dugong can farm down. And so I come in now with my Dugong to do just that. I'm going to look to farm down. I will have to eat an Energy Ball or a Rock-type Weather Ball. Dugong's tanky enough, she can handle it. He can handle it. I don't know what gender my Pokemon are. Second time in the video. If I'm going to give my Pokemon genders, I should probably figure out what they are. But my opponent with no shields is going to find out how much this Water Pulse is going to do. It's going to do about half damage. And they swapped out right after throwing the move, so they're dry on energy. Now I'm going to come in with the Sableye, try to Shadow Claw down. They come in with a Talonflame, and I'm just going to be able to get to some moves. I'm trying to time my fast moves properly here. I'm going to go for the return here just for the one heavy hitting damage move before my opponent gets to the Flame Charge, which will likely take me out at this range. So I want to do as much damage as I possibly can, come in with my Dugong, do a couple more Ice Shards, and be able to hopefully get to an Icy Wind to take out that Frostlass before she can get to a move. I know Frostlass is going to be female, so that works. Alright, one away from the Icy Wind. We throw the Icy Wind. We get there just in time to throw it and take out this Frostlass. Dugong putting in so much work in the Holiday Cup. It's unreal. Good game to my opponent there. Looks like the last battle of this one here. We've got Marowak on the lead. Now, this is an excellent lead for Sableye because of the Shadow Claw damage. When my opponent swaps out into Greedent, I don't have a direct response to Greedent, and I know I have to come in and preserve that matchup. So I do come in with my Dugong. Greedent is going to be able to fire off more Body Slams than I know what to do with. So I'm going to have to let these through because it would be a waste of a shield at the moment, even though they're not debuffed, because my opponent has so many. There's not really any point. So I will shield this one because I know that I'm one away from the Icy Wind, and I will be able to debuff all of them hereafter. So I will go for an Icy Wind right as my opponent gets to another Body Slam. Apparently they also win the CMP. Don't really know how that works, but I'm not a CMP master, to be honest. I just kind of know a few. So I'm going to go for the Icy Wind here. Just going to go as for as many Icy Winds as my opponent will let me have, and I'm not looking to commit any more shields, I don't think, here. Kind of feels like it'd be better off not to. But debuff Body Slams are not going to be able to take out Dugong before we can get to another. We hit the Icy Wind as my opponent perfectly swaps into Marowak, and I am going to come back in, most likely with my Sableye here. We get a little bit of lag here. Don't think it's anyone's fault there, but come right back in with the Sableye. Going to be able to get off a foul play right before my opponent gets to the move. They are running Hex, so it's only 4 to the Shadow Bone. And they're going to probably rock and Fire Blast. They let it go. They were looking to lure out. They were looking to lure it out. So they come back in with the Greedent now, knowing that they're going to resist these Shadow Claws. But my opponent is going to find out that they need to start shielding these foul plays because they do enough damage to threaten, and we don't get there quite yet. But they're going to go for the crunch here. The opponent doesn't want to go for Body Slam just because that would be a waste of energy. So they do go for a crunch. Now I will look to do a few more moves, and they swap in with a Unova Stunfisk. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching this video for the past 20-something, 30 minutes, you're going to find out really quickly and remember how dominating this matchup is. The opponent has no shields at all. We're going to get him. We're going to get him good. So my opponent starts throwing Mud Bombs because they can't throw the Discharges. They're running the Thunder Shock as the fast move, so that's going to be doing all of 1 damage to Piloswine. And they're looking to get off as much chip damage as they possibly can before I slap them with an Avalanche. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got at least one more Kaboom for this video, even though it's only half health. It's alright, we'll hit the button anyway. Alright, loading up on this Avalanche here. We're going to hit this U-Fisk with all we got. Gonna get him, and then we're going to come in with the green. They're going to see because they know what's going to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, this line, Sableye Double Ice with Piloswine and Dugong. One of the most spicy teams that I ran here in this Holiday Cup, and let me tell you, it's been a lot of fun being able to Stone Edge things out of existence here. We're going to move up to Upper Ace Echelon. Now, I've been kind of jumping all over the place. The Holiday Cup has been a just pendulum back and forth of good days versus bad days, and I've definitely had some bad days. So, as of recording this, though, I did hit Veteran. What I'm looking to do, ladies and gentlemen, this week is hit you with a 2 for videos. The next video you're going to see is the team I used to hit Veteran Now, it's going to be a good one. It's a great team. It's super consistent. And it's got Dugong. So, thank you all for watching today's video. If you liked it, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment. Let me know how your Holiday Cup battles are going. Are you excited for the upcoming Master League or any of the other cups? I'd like to talk about it with you in the comments. And just going to shamelessly plug myself, you can get early access to videos like this, all of my teams, my meta tips, and everything else you can imagine via my Discord. We've got a Patreon link down in the description. Please check it out. It offers that coaching services, the Discord with all the early access and everything you could think of. So please go ahead and check that out if it's something you're interested. But guys, thank you again for taking the time to watch this video. I hope to see you next time in the next one. Bye.